Very sincerely, you have read all the points those were written in the biodata. First and foremost, I thank Iowa Nagpur Center for inviting me for this lecture. Though this is not much technical, but I would like to say before beginning, this is the sensitization for the youth that we have so many resources. Of course, when you come in the water resources sector or in the water sector for working, some of the sections generally we miss. So I would like to throw some light whatever I know, and there was much of the discussion during my masters, and unfortunately, of course, that discontinued. But one should accept that there are so many, say, resources available, historical resources we can say, and they are still alive. So this presentation is a glimpse of information, you could say, that will give you, or many of you might be knowing because all are experts here, but still there is a scope for students to work on it, and of course the rejuvenation of these resources is required. So though it will be informative, but the takeaway of this lecture should be that actually from students' side, that they should look into the rejuvenation of the historical resources of India. So that is what the motive of today's lecture. So as the topic says that the ancient or the historical water resources of India and how it was managed earlier. So we talk about the, say, boundaries. Earlier, the stepwells, the very first name that come in front of us is the boundaries. Now looking at the availability of water, everybody knows that in hydrology we learn what is the amount of water which is available. So a very small amount of water, fresh water, surface water is available and we have to manage it. This seems to be very basic diagram, but that will give you the importance of management of the fresh water which is available with us and what is the necessity. In earlier days, in ancient days, actually the population was less, but the vision of the Maharajas or the dynasties those who were there, they were having, along with what exactly their population was for their janta, they used to have the water resources system and still they are intact. So here, the importance of the management is a very less amount of water is available with us. What is the present situation is? So here, these two diagrams says that what was the condition of the status before some years ago. 5% of water which was contributing to the surface runoff and about 95% of the water which was infiltrating. And at present, the situation is completely reversed. So 5% of the water, we can say, it's not exactly 5%. The meaning there is the minimum water which is getting infiltrated and maximum of the water is contributing to the surface runoff, and which we could see here. Now, if there is a rainfall of, let us say, 100 mm or so, still there is flooding in the city. So where exactly the things are going on? There are reservoirs, there are managements, there are policies, the policymakers are working hard. Of course, along with this, we also have to look into what are our, because we cannot go for more number of construction of the dams because huge capital investment is there for the dam construction. Large amount of, say, land is to be required, so land acquisition is one of the problem. Now, so there should be some parallel arrangement because what we have done is the legacy that we have got. We do not have the importance of it and it is getting spoiled. Maximum of the ancient or the historical, say, monuments we are destroying. So there is need nowadays to rejuvenate those historical, say, resources. For that we have to understand how they were built and how exactly those were managed by those, say, periods. And now if we understand how critically they managed it or how critically they designed it rather. So at least that part of, say, management we can can add into our new system so that it will be lasting for the more number of years. Because we have seen in the news, even if the dam is constructed, the next year it will get washed. So that is exactly what we are doing at present. So we are managing the resources, but the period of its sustenance is very less. So sustainability comes into picture into this. And as I said that the conservation is important because we have already resources with us. And this conservation, of course, we will be going with the advancements. Those are the very much required, but still the portion already the resources that we have to understand. Many of you have seen the step wells. Step wells are the ancient reservoirs. The structure of those step wells were designed in such a way that the person can reach to the water whatever the level is. Now the design of these step wells was such that though the water is scarce, it is less, still there was availability of water. And the main source of these wells were somewhere else. Jharna jaise hota hai na? Welcome. So it has some resource. We know that the tendency of water is flowing from higher head to lower head. And the locations of these step wells are such that all throughout the year the water is present in those step wells. When I was at my maternal uncle's home, so there I found one, bara they call it as its depth was more than 80 to 100 feet, but still it was having water throughout the year, and it was the steps were there to approach the water. If you cannot take out the water, but still there was facility, there was provision to reach to the water. So such more than 300 bara water tanks were constructed during the Ahilyabai Holkar's era. And that is also one of the biggest, management skill the Rani was having. So if you look at the statistics, it is saying that more than 2,000 of the wells, of course there are more than 5,000 actually in that area, but because of non-usage or many of the local people have dumped the material into it, and now those sites are not maintained properly. As of now, around 2,000 step wells are alive, or those are surviving. There are major 10 to 12 bodies which are located and still they are open. Those were working well. So those I would like to show you by photographs. So some important step wells are, many of you might have seen Rani Ki Vav, which is at Gujarat, Patan. Now this is the depth of this particular step well is around 7 stories. So this acts as a reservoir. And you can now imagine the capacity of this step well. The design of this step well is there are many access from all over the peripheral portion, and one can take out the water, though the levels are different in the lean period, because we know that the rainfall which we receive in the Indian context only during some period of a year. Some of the other cases are, so here you can see that at the depth, still water is there. These are the recent photographs. It is showing the water is still available. Another example is Agar Singh's Bawi. This is near Jantar Mantar at Delhi. And it is also a monumental, or it got the status by the ASI, that is Archaeological Survey of India, that it is protected, and one can observe or one can visit that site to check how in that period those were constructed. There are few other step wells. This is the Chandbawi at Jaipur. Now this photograph will tell you as the water goes down. Now the first photograph is showing that water level is comparatively up. The another one shows that there is the other way to reach to the water, and if the water level still goes down, still there is a provision to reach to the water level. So how exactly those were designed that safely one can go up to the water level? There are no any other mechanism for taking out the water, but through the steps, through the design, one can take out the water whenever it is required. This is another view of the same Baudi. The another step well in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, the same condition. Of course, you can see the axis is here. The axis from one side, of course, the water level at present it is down, but the capacity of these steps wells is huge. If we calculate in terms of, because those were constructed looking at the population which is residing nearby and to cater the demand of the population, those were designed. The another one is Suryakund at Modhera, Gujarat. Designs are different, but more or less the structures are same. From all the sides, the steps are there to enter. Step well of Kings Rajaoki Baudi, which is situated at Mehrauli, New Delhi. Then step well at Fatehpur. Here the steps are wider. The another step well with the different name. Actually, at different states they are named differently. In Maharashtra we call it as Baro. In Marathi it is called Baro. In Rajasthan and northern state it is called as Baudi. In southern part it is known as the Pushkarni. The designs are different. So this Pushkarni is at Hampi, Karnataka. At some places we call it as Kund. So here the steps design is different. But these kunds still, if you visit the temples, you will find that nearby the temple everywhere the kund is present. Even you visit Krishneshwar, you visit Trambakeshwar, you will find that one kund is there and always water is there. So there are thousands of such kunds which are there and we don't know from where exactly that source is. The another step well which is constructed with the soil material. Now this is not in a good condition. Of course, as after rejuvenation or after taking out all the dump material, this is what the scene is. Maximum, as I said, I have given one number which I got actually from the net. That is more than 5,000 Baudis were there, though they were small or big. But still, maximum of those step wells are now vanished. Or one can say it is difficult to identify that there were such type of step wells earlier. So if we look at the history, Ahilyabai Holkar was the Maharani from Madhya Pradesh. So during her era, she built many ghats, many temples, and just nearby those temples, those kunds were constructed. During her era, she also constructed or built, we can say, the tanks, which I was giving you the example, that is Bharat. In many of the villages, you will find that the tanks are constructed and from one side there are steps to reach to the water. So those barrows are still alive. So 300 is a big number along with these temples and the ghats that she built. So across India, if we look at, then you will find that her work was not limited to Madhya Pradesh, but other than Madhya Pradesh also, there are these tanks constructed by under the guidance of Ahilyabai Holkar. This is one photograph which is showing the Ahilyabai Holkar Barrow or the tope, which is known as at Vasara Ghat. So while moving from Nasik to Mumbai, it is on the way, and if you see into that Barrow, you will find that still water is present. The temperature of water is comparatively very less. ठंडा पानी आप पिएंगे वहाँ पे, and even the level of water is comparatively good. So at this point of time, also now look at the design. The dome which is there at the top, so that design says that the material should not enter into the well, and there are only one, say, door from where the water can be extracted. And the top portion, the dome, generally we say that it is difficult to design. But in that era, it was, say, constructed that too with the stone masonry, and still it is intact. So every year it is cleaned, and during, of course, monsoon period, as it is near to Nasik, so maximum times it gets, say, such vegetables that grows on it, and it is cleaned every year. The another stepwell of Maharashtra during Holkar period, this is the name I did not get. The other designs, that is, those were constructed during the Holkar period. Another one, these are some of the photographs. Now we all know that in Rajasthan the scarcity of water was there, and they were having their own system to store the water. So this is what a traditional, say, well is. In the previous, say, period, generally the traditional wells were there in each house. Even in Nagpur, I saw when I shifted here in 2015, I saw in some of the areas, the small wells are there in their boundary, and of course the amount of water or the groundwater level is comparatively good in some of the areas. Still they are using that water. So these traditional wells, of course, those days were kept clean, and the groundwater, say, quality was good. Though you can say there is no any confined edge at the, say, boundary. So harvesting pit, this is a simple example of rainwater harvesting with the pipes. Those are connecting with the rooftop, can be discharged into a pit. Now in the Rajasthan, the water which was stored, that structure was known to be tanka. In Rajasthan, they used to build because the rainfall is very scanty in that area, and there were no option to them to store the water. Whatever the less amount of water that they get, they have to store it. So they got very good, say, technique to trap that water, to arrest that water through these structures. Those were known as tankas, and the design of these tankas were, the depth of it may be 2 meters or so, and the diameter maybe 10 feet or so. And then the arrangement was so done, the slope is towards that tanka. So all the water will, the surface runoff will enter into that tank, the sediment will get settled, and the clean water that can be extracted by them during the clean period, because it was covered, so there was little, say, evaporation losses. So those practices were done by them. So these are some of the designs. Now coming to the management system. So those were what exactly were built. Now if I will come to a case study, so in Aurangabad, now it is Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. So here maximum of the tourists, they visit Panchakki. The name Panchakki is the chakki, that is atta is grinded with the help of water. So that is why it is named as Panchakki. Now Panavar Sainari Chakki. In Marathi it is Pani Pichalnari Chakki or Panchakki मतलब Panavar Sainari Chakki. So you can see chakki on the right side, and on the left side you can see that there is one wall, and if you visit that place you will find that constantly the water is discharging from that wall. Now the history says that actually the source of that particular water, as it is flowing under cycling action, around 6 kilometers from that place there are Jatwada hills. The depression is there because of those Jatwada hills, and during the monsoon period all the water gets accumulated in the valley portion. So all the water gets arrested, and through the Nehar system that is brought this Panchakti. So it was built in 1756. In the 18th century it was built. And just downstream of it, as the water was constantly discharging from the portion, that wall, through the cyclic action, on the downstream side, 30 feet, say, the tank was constructed. And just near to it, they were having a hall for their namaz. I have seen that hall. You will not believe that hall does not require any AC arrangement. Because for 24/7, the water is present at the top. So that hall, the temperature of that hall is always less than the surrounding temperature. Now, how exactly this Panchakti works or Panchakti works? As I said, that from the 6 kilometers of the distance, underground pipeline is there which is carrying the water, and that water is constant. Now, it is very difficult for today's engineers to find out how exactly the water is coming from. So, this was the magic, or this was what exactly their design was, and still it is alive. So any time if you get a chance, you visit this place, you will find that the amount of water may be less, but it is discharging. So as I was telling about one tank, that is 630 feet depth tank, so that you can see that the blue one, and from the wall the water is discharging. So this is the plan, how exactly actually it works. So there were two reservoirs which were trapped, that is the Hillox actually, and the valley portion which is connecting to this underground pipeline, and then it is supplying the water to the old city of Aurangabad or Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. The another view of this Panchakti. Actually, this system is known as the Nehar system. If you look at the history, you will find that even in the recent past, maybe 3-4 years back, there was some excavation in Aurangabad for the development, for the road construction. And they found that there is a network which is there underground. And 4-5 feet below the ground, they found that there is a channel available. And that channel, it was, the explanation of that was given. Aurangzeb constructed the underground network to supply the water to his daughter, who she was residing some far away from the city, Kadgi area. So in that area, that particular water from the Nehar system was supplied. And that was the underground system, nobody was knowing it. That's what I want to say, convey that still we don't know how many of the provisions they have made. They are yet to say open up or yet to reveal. These are some of the photographs which will give the idea what exactly the Nehar is. So this is known as the Nehar Ambari because Malik Ambar, he made it, and those were constructed in such a way that with the local material, one person or two person can walk. So the height of that Nehar is more than 6 feet, one can see. So very easily one can walk through that Nehar. And these photographs are showing that they are still alive. Minimum amount of water still it is present. Maximum in Aurangabad area there are many patches of Muslim community, and they are using because they have constructed their homes, their houses, and these outlets are in their homes because they are getting water. Aurangabad, everybody knows that Aurangabad is facing so much of the problem of water. So after every 7th day, they get the water that too for 1 hour. So this is what the condition at present of Aurangabad as far as the drinking water supply is concerned. Now these Nehar, though the network is very less because that time it was constructed for 50,000 of population. Now the population is very high. Of course that will not work, and nobody has given the attention to this Nehar to increase the say water level. But as it is still life, maximum outlets, that is manholes, we call it as the technical language. So as I said, this is known to be the Nehre Ambani, and the maps are also found. If we go into the detail, somewhere the depth of these nehers are more, even the breadth is also more. These are some of the photographs showing the outlets of these nehers. Somewhere now they are exposed because of the excavation or because of the development in the cities. This is Kham River, just near to the Panchaki. We can see that just near to that, as this is the natural river, still it is not having any water. And just उसके बाजू में पांचचक्री में पानी आ रहा है. So this is the beauty of the ancient water management. Now talking about the forts. Sir said that Daulatabad fort is known for its special structure. The way it is built such that if any enemy will enter into the fort, then its survival is at most difficult. It's almost difficult because the walls of that fort are completely straight. In Marathi, it is called as khandak. So depressions are there all around the fort, and always water is present और मगरमच्छ वहाँ छोड़े जाते थे ताकि अगर वहाँ से एनिमी को छोड़ेंगे तो मगरमच्छ खा लेंगे. So this was the technique they used. Now coming to our water resources management, at the top of this, in between this fort, you will find there is Hatti House, where the water is always available. So that at the high level, so these are the photographs of that Hatti House. So you can see on the right side that there is a bridge to connect two portions of the fort at the top, where exactly that level is, where this particular house is there. So this is another classical example of water storage on the fort, that too at the very higher level. Shivneri Fort. Those who have visited Shivneri Fort might be knowing this. On the north side of Shivneri Fort, you will find that there is a kund. This kund, it has two portions. One cannot understand, or one cannot say recognize even that the water is present, the huge amount of water is present at the top of Shivneri Fort. Where exactly the portion where exactly the monuments are kept, that is the birthplace of Chhatrapati Sampayana is kept there, then the statue of Jizabai and Shiva is kept. Just when you go few meters from that place, you will find that if you see there, then only, or one board is already there. If you look at the board, then only you can recognize that there is one tank which is containing water. The water level of that tank is also very good, and you can drink that water without any treatment. So this is the inner portion of that tank. It is popularly known as Badami Talab. One more management is from Karkis. The water was transported through the underground channel to Shaniwarwada. So there is no any open channel one can see, but of course water is supplied from the Karkis lake to Shaniwarwada. So this was also one of very ancient management technique, and some amount of water is still supplied to this. So these are some of the photographs of Neher. That is indicating the level of water. It may be sometimes 3 feet or more than that. These are some of the papers those were published on this. So looking at these ancient management, the learning is when we design any system, it should be durable, it should be long lasting, and there should be some mechanism to sustain that particular system. So that is what exactly the importance of looking at all these are ancient resources. Now coming to the present one, actually we study at our township. One day I actually was traveling and then saw that there is heavy rain. When I reached home, there was continuous rainfall and lot of noise was coming from the outside. So out of curiosity, what I did is I took umbrella and then I went downstairs. Just took a round of my building and I saw that there were 7 to 8 pipes who are discharging with the full capacity. This is very common picture actually. Just I stood there and I measured it with the eye that in say 1 minute how much of liters of water is discharging from this pipe. And that was very huge. So calculated it if half an hour rainfall is there, how much is the normal way we calculated. It was found that as the entire area was paved, the amount of runoff was tremendous. And we were facing the water crisis. And then there were community actually. There was discussion that what to do with this water because anyhow we are not using the terrace or the roof, so already it is clean, why not to arrest that water? So we called one person that calculated the amount of water. We investigated where exactly our boreholes are. So during that investigation, we came to know that there are 2 rainwater harvesting pits constructed by the builder, and those are dumped with the debris. Because for the sanctioning of the plan, of course, the rainwater harvesting, those pits are to be shown, otherwise your plan will not get sanctioned. So those 2 pits were dumped or those were filled with the debris. So we took up that project on the pioneer basis. The amount of water which was collected from one building, there were 5 towers. There are 5 towers. So from one tower at the preliminary basis, we collected the filters, and from that filter, the water was discharged into the sump. The amount of capacity of that sump was around 3.5 lakhs because 214 residents are there, apartments are there, and to fulfill the demand, there are 2 sumps. One is for water usage and one is for the drinking purpose. So for that 3.5 lakhs of tank, during the rainy period, still after 5 years, those filters are working and we are completely using that water during the rainy period for the general purpose or for the utility. So this was the rejuvenation of those 2 pits. The whole material was taken out and it was filled with the different sized stones. The water was allowed to enter into it. This is the groundwater recharge technique. Simple it is. Because anyhow, when the water will enter into it, of course the water level, the groundwater recharge will happen, and this is also working fantastically. So this you can see, the amount of water which was discharging, the photos were taken, and the some amount of water which was actually entered into the sewage also. Sewage line में जा रहा था पानी. Clean water was wasted. Then the filters were connected, and you can see that directly they are discharging into the groundwater. The underground tank. Few of the filters or the water which was discharged into the borehole directly. Then in the another event, we found that maximum of the runoff which is passing from the gate area and ultimately it is leading to Nala. So that amount was very huge. So we diverted that water with some construction and one channel was built, and that water was discharged into the pit. So some of the garden area was excavated at 12 feet. Pit was constructed. These all are very small techniques or simple techniques everybody knows, but we don't do it. Still, it is working at maximum amount of water which is flowing into Nala. Now it is diverted for the groundwater recharge. So these were small initiatives which were taken, and it is really doing wonders. So this is all about what we can do as a small step. We need not to go for so much of the high-fi technique actually. We can see what is happening around us and what we can do with it for the betterment. So that's all. Thank you very much. So students, if they have any question.
Any questions?
No questions?
There is one question from Mr. Meshanada sir.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that well. Sir asked actually in 1986 when first time the water technology mission was launched by the government of India. One of the objectives was to convert step wells to sanitary wells because the problem of junior worms was prevalent at places where water from step wells was used for drinking purpose. Under WTS, the quality of water from these wells was restored wells were covered with pumps fitted. So, do you have any information on this?
Do the statistics, sir? No?
Not a statistics. Do you have any information, statistics or anything like that?
No, I don't have that information.
Yeah, I have just. These step wells which you are saying, is it a well or it is just a pond of thing, a pond, a type of thing from where the technology surface water which is coming in and getting accumulated when it is used. So well means that you presume that there is some groundwater source which is there.
Yes, it is. It is a type of well, but there are two sources we can say. One is the groundwater, the another one is the rainfall or the runoff, which is from the surrounding area. Because these step wells are having the level at the ground itself.
Okay, so in all the wells it is like that.
Maximum of the wells are at the ground level.
Okay.
Maximum of the wells.
Yeah, thank you very much for the nice presentation and showing us the ancient engineering marvels of India. I have a question that most of the wells that you showed, they look of similar pattern design. Is it a standard design or there was some variation in collecting the water in the form of step wells? And my second question is that you also showed in some codes you had some at higher levels of water was available. So my first question is that is the design was same or the knowledge base that we had was similar for designing of all step wells?
Yes, if we look at the history says that during the 11th to 16th century, these step wells actually were built. And the main design that the steps, the difference is there, but the main concept is same to reach the water if the level goes down. So that is why the steps are the common thing or the common design part you can observe in maximum of the wells. As the number is in thousands, still though it is smaller, the capacity of those reservoirs, what we call it as step wells.
Yeah.
Now we are calling it as reservoir. So reaching to the water level, whatever it is, in any of the period, that was the main motive, because step well itself says that, or Barrow or Bowdy, so it itself says that the tank which will allow the water to say trap or to extract through the steps. So it should be reachable. That was the main concept. That is why maximum of these step wells which were constructed during this period are of the similar kind of design. Second question.
Second question was like you said that in some codes at some higher level also they correct some. So how was that water at higher level?
Yes, actually, one case study is there, one paper is there for the Daulatabad fort and one of the fort at Nasik. So it says that there are some of the portions of the fort where the cracks or some slits are prepared. So those slits constitute